Welcome to A&M Reviews. I'm Skybear, and I'm here with my buddy Sal. Sal, what's up?
Not much.
Alright, and today we're going to be talking about The Dark Tower, which is about the last gunslinger who has been locked in an eternal battle with the Man in Black, determined to prevent him from toppling the Dark Tower, which holds the universe together. With the fate of worlds at stake, good and evil will collide in the ultimate battle as only the gunslinger can defend the tower from the Man in Black. Sal, what did you think about this movie?
Okay, before we start, I'm just going to say it. Spoilers, so if people haven't seen it, go watch it and then come back and see if you agree with our review. But here we go. My review, didn't like it. 6.5 out of 10 for me.
Okay. Yeah, I gave it a 5 out of 10 because, damn. That disappointed me, dude.
Yeah, I mean, and the whole thing is, it has potential. I mean, it's not something that just came out of the left field. No one knew. I mean, it's Stephen King.
Like, we had 8 novels of material. 8 novels for this fucking movie. So much goddamn potential, so much material to work with.
Yeah, there's novels and graphic novels from this series, if we want to call it a series, and it has so much. They have so much source to start with. I mean, they can work with, it's like story, backstories, stories, side stories. Everything is there. So for them to bring out this piece of shit, yes, let's go with that. I mean, it's just like, what were they thinking? I mean, given that there's some action scenes that are pretty nice and, action packed, which I liked, but the story that we saw in theaters is just too generic. No explanation. Yeah. Some parts are slow where they're supposed to be fast, and some stories when you're supposed to take more time, it just goes pretty fast. So in that sense, they rushed it too much.
I felt the same way. I felt it was way too rushed. Like, they were just, like, trying to get, moving the story along. Just like, let's do this. Let's get it done. And I also felt it was way too short of a movie. Because, I mean, it's only fucking 95 minutes.
That's the whole thing. They could have used more adaptation from the books to the movie. Which I never read the books, but I went online and after I saw the movie, and I'm like, this is not what I saw.
Yeah, and, I'm currently halfway through the first book, and, if you're expecting, the book in this movie, just don't, because you're not going to get it. This is not the books, this is just something else, and just, don't even have that mindset. I mean, here's hoping for the best for the TV show, that they fill in some gaps.
Yeah. All the thing you're going to get from the movie is, they're walking by, and they're like, what's that? Oh, that's a Dark Tower. Who is the bad guy? The Man in Black. Oh, who are you? I'm from another world. What about you? I'm a gunslinger. And that's it. There's no, what's a gunslinger? What is a tower? Who is the Man in Black? What are your, backstories? Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, all of those were just, given through, exposition, which, they could have found, a better way to do that. It didn't have to just be, some dude saying, this is the Dark Tower and this is what it is.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that, your Dark Tower. It holds the universe together. We want a little more. Come on, just a little more details. Why are they having the kids, brought in? Yeah, they touch upon The Shining,
did you see the photo in the doctor's office of the Overlook Hotel?
Yeah.
When I saw that, I was like, oh, what? Shining? And then, when they were talking about, how, Jake has, the shine.
Yes.
And whatever. I did not realize that, before watching that this movie connects with The Shining, and it's also supposed to connect with a bunch of other Stephen King stories, Hearts in Atlantis, The Mist, Salem's Lot, The Stand, From a Buick 8. Those are all supposed to be one big universe.
Well, I can see how it connects with The Mist, because the monsters. So
right,
that, and then the whole thing about the tower, that it connects a lot of worlds, and there's portals from one world to another. I can see how he's going to connect all his movies. But here's the thing: is there going to be another movie of the Dark Tower? We don't know. We can't say. The only thing I can say for sure was if people say after the credits, you hear a slight whistle, signifying that the Man in Black is not dead, or the Man in Black is going to return. We don't know. But yeah, I mean, I would say go read the novels. Best source that you can do.
Like I'm reading the first book right now, and it's already way better than the movie that I watched. Sal.
Yeah, see, I'm gonna probably read the books slowly, and then after that, I'll probably read the graphic novels if I need to clear up or something. Because also the novels and the graphic novels, I think we spoke about this, do not go hand in hand. They just it's a summary. Or is that what you said to me? I think it's just a summary or retelling of the story.
I believe so. I mean, like I think the comics might like touch upon certain things that the books didn't, but who knows? I haven't read them.
But yeah, read the books. Then go watch the movie, and you probably give it the same ratings we gave it, or even lower. But what other stuff can we talk about the movie that I don't know?
I mean, like I definitely well, I mean, I enjoyed, all the gunfights. Those were cool. Like there was some cool action in this movie, and also Idris Elba. Oh my God, please be in everything. You're just fantastic in everything you do. Don't stop.
He doesn't say much in the movie, but his look says it all. He carries himself as a gunslinger and gives the feeling like, I'm authority and I'm going to kick your ass.
And dude, when he was loading up the bullets in his revolver, holy shit! I was just like, yes, more cool shit like this.
Yes.
Keep doing that.
Even though I want to say that it's not realistic, but it's like the Matrix kind of moves that he does with, when he's reloading them, throwing them in the air. Those scenes were really good. I liked them. The other thing that I liked was there's magic elements combined with sci-fi elements. I mean, it's like magic is used to turn on the portals, but then you see them working on computers to turn on the portals, but they're running on magic and stuff. So I like that kind of blend. So you can't pinpoint that, oh, it's just a magic movie or it's a sci-fi movie. And then the portals themselves remind me of Stargate.
Yeah.
Then you have the Gunslinger, which is like a Western style, but in a different world. And that whole element kind of made me believe in the movie more than I should have.
I just wish that there was more backstory on all of that, though. Because, like, when I was watching it, I was like, well, in the very beginning, there's those people with the fake faces, and, you gotta push their skin together to make sure they don't fall apart or whatever, right? But that was it. Like, they didn't touch upon them at all. Or, like, the rat face dude. Like, who's that? There's just a rat face dude, and then you don't even talk about him.
Yeah. It also reminded me almost like the Men in Black, how the aliens put on the mask and everything, and they're like the roaches coming out of the hand and everything. In the Men in Black, it also reminded me of that. So, I mean, if Men in Black did it and it was okay, you could have done it and touched upon, oh, these are skinwalkers, or, basically people who put on skin to mimic humans and live within us. Because, I mean, a lot of people are out there, with crazy theories of aliens among us. This is touching upon it. Like, oh, yeah, these are aliens. Not necessarily the aliens that we think of, Roswell or something. These are aliens from another world coming in, blending in, and taking our kids. So You could have touched upon that, and say, oh, so many kids have been missing. But I didn't even hear them reference about kids being missing.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, there were some scenes that I saw on some trailers that I did not see in the movie. For example, there's a trailer that I remember seeing where it's the gunslinger fighting against the Man in Black. The Man in Black, you can't see him, but you hear him, and he's like, "We've been doing this for thousands of years. You can never kill me, so why even try?" And then that's when the gunslinger goes into his oath, and I'm like, okay, I wanted that trailer caught my attention, and I said, I'm gonna go see this movie. It looks pretty damn good. Went to the movie, and I'm like, okay, when is it coming up? Haven't seen it. End of the movie, I'm like, maybe at the end of the credits. Didn't see it. I just heard the whistle, and I'm like, okay, what happened? I'm like, that was a good scene.
Yeah, I wish trailers wouldn't do that. Like with Rogue One.
Yeah.
How just like, oh yeah, here's like here's a trailer, but then oh wait, lol, no, we're gonna reshoot 40% of it, and all that stuff is gone now.
Yeah. Well, I understand why they do it. I mean, you're
yeah,
the guy in charge of a trailer.
You
have to get it out, and then they're not working fast enough. But so they bring stuff. You're looking through B-roll basically, and then you kind of cut it up, and then you're hoping that it's going to make it into the movie. Then that's why the director comes in at the end, like, cut that out, cut that out, cut that out. And you're like, that was half my trailer right there.
Yeah. Oh, and one thing that I definitely noticed, like, as soon as the movie started, in the book, the perspective of the story is actually through the gunslinger, mainly, as opposed to the movie where the whole perspective is through Jake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was kind of weird. Like, I kind of would have preferred to just stick with the gunslinger rather than, you know, some kid. But whatever. To each his own.
See, I didn't know that about the book, but I mean, in my own personal point of view, I would like point of view from the gunslinger because the boy, we heard his story. His dad died in a fire and stuff like that. Okay, it's interesting that the kid has the shining and the gift and everything, but wouldn't it be better if we get the gunslinger's point of view? Is like, oh, I've been doing this for a long time, and his flashbacks should have been more interesting, not just we saw him with his dad and how his dad died, which links him to Jake. They both lost their father, but that's all we know about the gunslinger.
Yeah, and like with the book, you spend so much more time with the gunslinger. Like even like during his training days, like becoming a gunslinger, but you know,
See,
that all got cut out. I mean, like it is a movie; they're gonna cut out a lot of stuff anyway. But I mean, like that was the kind of stuff that would have definitely helped this movie. I feel like if you just had, more backstory to this, and like if you just made this movie a little bit longer just to fit in like certain scenes, then it would have totally been awesome.
yeah,
But
especially like
yeah,
what you just said about him training in the book. Have a not a scene, but a flashback of his dad teaching him. That would have made a big impact on people. Like the father passing on to the kid by teaching him the ways, instead of we're in a battle and it's just me and you. We're against the man in black. Oh, guess what? The father's now dead. Okay, but we don't know how much the father meant to the son. Was it just because they were working as gunslingers, or was it because they have a special bond? You have to touch upon these things, and especially, I'm sure it's in the books. If there's 8 books, there
yeah,
has to be something
exactly.
about it.
And like even in and like you well in the book they even touch upon like the morality shift from like becoming fully pledged into being a gunslinger
Yeah,
and it's like yes like that's exactly what this movie should have had in it just like oh that's like really the point where he became the gunslinger
yeah,
instead of the flashback we got where he's already a gunslinger and then oh no I need revenge.
yeah. Now the other thing is like we catch him at his low point where he doesn't consider him a gunslinger, himself a gunslinger anymore.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, how did you reach this point? We can't just rely on the flashback. We need more. How good were you to where you're at now? Even the man in black, we don't know much about him, and it could be that way that he's the bad guy. You don't know because he's a question mark, out in the distance. So maybe he had more of a backstory involved with the man in black. I don't know. I'm just speculating here. On top of that, what's the significance of the Dark Tower? You touch more upon it, give a backstory. Maybe it's tilting a little bit because of a attack before, and that was when the dinosaurs died or something. Something like that. But don't just point at it and be like, that's the center of the universe, and that's holding everything together. If that goes down, everything is going to shit.
Right.
Just work on it, backstory. We want to know about this. It's not that we're just going to sit there and be like, oh, this is boring. No, we want to know, get invested in the movie. Then you can start rushing through it. Action scenes were good. Don't change that. End of the story. Could have been better. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like this is definitely a movie where you just rent it or stream it or like just watch it while you're on a plane.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because to tell you the truth, the last fight scene, I expected more.
I feel like they phoned it in a little bit with that. I mean, like before he has the showdown with the Man in Black, when he's like shooting all those other guys, that was cool.
That was better than the last scene when he was fighting the Man in Black. And now that he's armed and everything, it could have gone a little longer or more intense. Yeah. Well, that's why we gave it what we gave it.
Yep. Ah, well. So that's it for our Dark Tower review. Now we're going to take a minute to remember the late Jerry Lewis, who passed away recently. He was known for his comedy duo team with Dean Martin, movies like The Stooge, The Bellboy, Cinderfella, The Nutty Professor, The King of Comedy, and like there's way too many movies that Jerry Lewis is known for. But some cool tidbits from his life. Apparently, he was thrown out of high school for punching out his principal, who had offended him with an anti Semitic remark, and then directly went into vaudeville. Allegedly, he would secretly leave an audio tape recorder running in a briefcase he would intentionally leave behind in meetings to see what some people would be saying about him. He was presented with the French Legion of Honor in 1984 and was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize in 1977 for his 50 years raising money to fight muscular dystrophy. He taught a film class at the University of California, and some of his students included Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. One of his closest friends was Sammy Davis Jr., and apparently he was best friends with Tony Curtis and Janet Leigh. He encouraged Christopher Walken to act. He was offered the role of Jerry/Daphne in Some Like It Hot, directed by his friend Billy Wilder, but he declined because he didn't want to dress in drag. The role, of course, went to Jack Lemmon, where he received an Oscar nomination for his performance, and Lewis says that Jack Lemmon would send him chocolates every year to thank him, and he regretted not taking the role after that. He was pronounced clinically dead from a massive heart attack after completing The King of Comedy, and he's had several heart attacks throughout his life. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible he survived all of them. His idol was Al Jolson. He was the lead in The Jazz Singer, which is the first sound movie ever, and he was good friends with John F. Kennedy. So, incredible man, incredible life,
Yeah.
incredible comedian.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude.
I mean, I'm sure everybody knows the name Jerry Lewis. You know, his voice. If you've seen the Animaniacs, you know they make reference to him. Because, again, Animaniacs was directed by Steven Spielberg, who took a class with him in college. Wow. No, I remember this guy. Especially from the charity. You would see him on TV every year raising money for the kids. And it's amazing. I mean, he did the fundraiser for 50 years. Wow.
Just what an amazing human being.
Yeah. I mean, there's other stories apparently too that, you know, it's basically almost like urban legends that you can go off of. But most of these, I mean, we've checked them out and they hold truth. So, wow.
Oh, and speaking of urban legends, you know, I just remembered a video I saw where apparently he had a feud with Bing Crosby, and it was because Crosby and Bob Hope were on TV, and then Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis like came out and like they just like tackled Bob Hope pretty much, and like they were just like messing around, and then Bing Crosby like left stage, and then they were all wondering, it's like, where's Bing Crosby? Like, it's like, Bing, where are you? and then after that there was just like a feud between the two of them, and it was all because Bing Crosby thought, you know, after like they were like roughing around with Bob Hope, he thought that they were gonna fuck with his toupee.
Oh.
So
he just basically played it safe and just walked off.
Yeah, and then it was just like bad between them after that.
Wow. No, but I mean, Jerry Lewis is a great comedian with, you know, the duo with Dean Martin. I'm pretty sure a lot of comedians now are probably, you know, remembering his good old days, and I'm sure that some of the comedians nowadays basically learn from him.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God, of course.
Incredible. And he encouraged Christopher Walken to act.
To act, dude. Like, we wouldn't have Christopher Walken without Jerry Lewis.
We wouldn't have more cowbell without him, you know? So, thank you, Jerry Lewis, for making him act, or telling him. I don't know how that went down. What do you think? He probably ran into him and said...
Yeah, he did run into him, like because he was on TV or something, and then backstage, he was just like, you know, you should act, dude.
Wow. So, Christopher Walken used to be, what, comedian too, and probably after that, or
I don't remember like why or like how they ran into each other, but I just think that's just amazing.
I'm just playing the possibilities in my head and hearing the two voices go back and forth. You know, Christopher Walken, famous voice, and then Jerry Lewis with his famous voice talking to each other.
Yeah, I love you know, celebrity stories like that where it's just like, oh, it was just this one fateful day, and then I ran into this super famous dude, and Now I'm an actor.
No, imagine that. Probably what, a minute or less than a minute conversation just changed Christopher Walken's career.
Well, with that said, here's a minute of tribute for the late Jerry Lewis. Jerry, you were a funny dude. We are gonna miss you.
You Vanderhook? Oh, a tall, skinny girl with buck teeth?
Yes?
And with red stringy hair?
That's right.
What would a gorgeous thing like that want with me?
To have a little Semitic to it, like Ladies!
Jerry's impression of Winston Churchill.
Thanks very much. I didn't know how to do it.
Tell him you'll punch him in the nose.
Stop putting words in my mouth. I won't say that.
You won't say what?
I'll punch you in the nose. Oh, I said it. Bing, crowd big. Bing, Fred big. Here, fellow, boy, young man. Here, innkeeper, find that boy. Barbara.
Clean, like the product we're working for.
Yes, Colgate. And I am a satisfied user, and I say Colgate is the best dentifrice on the market. Not because they are handling us on their show, but because they told us to say it.
And that concludes our minute of tribute. Join us next time for when we talk about The Hitman's Bodyguard. Social media is in the description, and remember to click and subscribe and hit us up if you have any questions.
And remember, keep watching movies.